best one, I think, because it's mostly wire. Another model is made all out of metal, and it has it seems to me that it limits the room on top a little. That one there is the same, but it's all that one's very durable, and that's a plastic one. I should throw it. But and that lays right on top. And again, I think it may affect the movement of the bees. And then, so that's the plastic. And so those are the various kinds. I don't use them right away. Sometimes I'll put them on after the super is filled, if there's a good honey flow, which hasn't happened. But what Oscar didn't mention, so I'll just add, this is the inner cover that fits underneath the.
Get that so that you don't, when the bees like to glue everything down. Just look at this, or the queen excluder. They like to put propolis, that's a kind of a resin, or wax on everything. And they can nail that top down, and you put the inner cover, so you can take the telescoping cover off, and then you can then use your hive tool and pry this off. Or hive or whatever. Question.
Yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way.
It's the correct width, so the queen cannot go through that. Okay? Or, let's say she's not supposed to go through that. Okay? Because, like we say, there's always an exception. This one here, as you can see, we got so many wood slats. I've got some of these that come apart, and it's just little strips of wire, supposedly the light wood and so on. This is a queen excluder. So there's different kinds of queen excluder. The one that's really the best is the one that's over here with the wood rim, and that's the nicest one. Sometimes we don't use a queen excluder. If you don't use a queen excluder, obviously, what the queen's going to do, these usually build their, so they have a brood in kind of a U shape or a pyramid shape. And so if you don't use an excluder, they go up into the honey supers. Then you have to sort frames out and so on. If you keep that queen out of there, then of course you just pop your super off, get the bees out of there, and we'll talk about that later, and then you're ready to extract. Otherwise, you have to extract around them. Now, I've seen beekeepers, excuse me people, I've seen beekeepers, big beekeepers, they don't have time to fool with all this stuff. So when they come to larvae, they have automatic uncappers down the whole thing. Well, you go through the larvae, and yeah, these are nice and white, they're kind of milky colored and so on, mix it with the honey. Now, I eat the honey.
They're like those.
But nothing else. But if you're looking at it, no, it's not like that governor we had. What did he call honey? Right. Called it bee food. He was a college professor in charge of a university and wasn't intelligent enough to know the difference between bee food and honey. Honey does not go through the other end. It can come out. Now, the question you ask a person who uses that term, say, do you eat eggs? You know what the term for the opening where the hen lays the eggs is called? It's called the cloaca. Either the Latin or the Greek term, that means sewer.
Okay, just a couple of quick things on the end. One of the things that there are several kinds. I have at home. I have 30 different kinds of smokers.
Yes, really unique antique.
There's a.
He's an antique. I mean, antiquer.
Another antique talking about.
But like he says, these with the bellows, and you get new bellows. This one I don't use because I use it in the kids and bees at the state convention every year, so I like to kind of keep one clean. But I've not used this. Smoker is kind of fun to start out, but it's a nice tool because when you give the bees a couple of little puffs of smoke, it calms them. Or they think there's a fire and they go and fill up with honey, and now you can work with them. If you want, you smoke your hands, and probably the smoke will keep the bees off your hands. Okay? There are power types of these, expensive, but a power type will keep them going when you're sitting this down and working with something else.
Personally, I don't use it very much, but the books say that you should use it all the time, and you can use, I used to use burlap, but you use that, make sure that it's been left out in the rain for a couple of good heavy rains to wash most of the stuff out of it. Excelsior, wood, and, I haven't seen that for years.
You can buy some fuel.
Yeah, but you can buy some fuel, pine needles.
That's what I do.
Dry wood. The idea is that the flame should not be too hot. And you get it started good, and then you think you got it started good, so you go out, you're going to smoke your bees, and it won't go. It went out on you. Yeah, that happens all the time. But you're supposed to get it started good. I spent 2 weeks in Nicaragua with beekeepers that have Africanized bees, and they have big smokers. They're about 2.5 times this size, and they use them all the time.